Hi there, my name's Georgia and I'm a second year chemistry student at the University of Reading, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about a week in the life of a chemistry student. So first, Monday. Usually I have about 6 to 7 hours a week of lectures and then the odd tutorial or workshop in between. So Monday was a 2-hour lecture plus a tutorial in the Edith Morley building. And as you'll learn if you come to the University of Reading, Edith Morley is the biggest building ever. It's super easy to get lost, but there's loads of maps so you'll be able to find your way back out. And my cohort has about 45 students in. This is one of the reasons I chose Reading. So as you can see, this is quite a small classroom. Generally, tutorials are smaller groups where you focus on questions that have been previously set by a lecturer. Then after my lecture I headed to the library. This is me going through the gate using my key card, and I went specifically to look for a book that I needed. As you can see, there are lots of books, and we also all have an academic library liaison officer. They're dedicated specifically to your subject or your school, and they can help you find anything you need in the library. As you can see in the background, we have lots of different study spaces. So the library in total has 5 floors. The top floor is for silent study, then lower floors have individual study pods, little pods for group work, and big tables for group work too. Obviously, another part of being a student is being able to look after yourself, so this was my dinner for the night. It was a soup that I'd made. Moving on to Tuesday. So another major part of university life is individual study. This morning I didn't have any lectures, I actually had an exam in the afternoon, so here's me doing a bit of revision for that. Exams at Reading are currently online. Mine were anyway online this year as they were last year. However, different schools have different sort of ways of marking you. This can be through tutorials, it can be coursework, so I've had lab reports and many other different forms. Then in the afternoon I went on a bike ride around campus. As you can see, it's lovely and green, there's lots of open space, and you'll be able to see more of this later on in the video. There is also lots of places to park bikes if you are a cyclist. However, campus is not very far away from generally the student housing, and there is student accommodation on campus as well. If you're not so much into cycling, we do have an on-campus gym and lots of facilities, as well as lots of sports societies and lots of different societies you can join. After this, me and my friend went into town to reward ourselves for a hard day work. If you've not been into Reading town, I really do recommend it. There's lots of restaurants along the river, and the Oracle is where we have all of our shops. So this year, a Wednesday was a very busy day for me. As you can see, I'm on the way to the chemistry building. The chemistry building is on more of one side of the campus, nearest to Bridges and Wessex halls, and it's also near to Park House, which is sort of a bar and somewhere you can eat. So this is me going into the chemistry building. Everyone's always impressed by the stairs, they're super cool. Downstairs we have a little communal area with a microwave and a coffee machine and lots of seating as well to eat lunch or just do work. So I'm on my way up to the first floor. The first floor is where labs are held for first and second years, and we also have lecture theatres on every floor. So here you can see one of the lecture theatres, has lots of chairs, periodic table, pretty standard for a lecture theatre. So now into the lab, you need key card access to get into the labs because there's lots of chemicals and high-tech equipment in there. So here you can see me doing one of the experiments. This is a column chromatography experiment, and we get up to lots of different things. Generally, in my second year, I spent about 1 day a week in the lab from 9 till 6, however some days you're done before that. First year labs are usually about an afternoon, and third year labs tend to be 2 days of the week because you are doing your project. I found labs were quite scary to begin with, however there is always lots of lecturers walking around, as well as PhD students that can help out and answer any questions that you might have. So now we're back downstairs going into the cath lab. Once again, you need keycard access to get into here. The cath lab is more of a high-tech lab. We have stuff like NMR equipment and lots of fancy stuff that's very expensive. You tend to use these labs more when you do your third year project, and there's always plenty of research going on here. So the lecturers, although they do teach us, they have their own research groups where they do their own research and find out some amazing stuff. Now we're on our way to the end of the bottom floor and then down to the basement. So the basement has lots of other cool stuff, however you don't tend to work down here as much. Again, like I said, this is mainly for lecturer research. We have a computer room, however, that is used by students, and it's much more of a quiet space if you don't want to go to the library and you do want to do some of your work. Now continuing on into the basement, where we have a 3D printer and some other cool equipment. One of my favourite parts about the chemistry department is the relationship that we have with the lecturers. Because we are a smaller cohort, all of the lecturers know all of the students, which is great because it just means that you can pop in and speak to them. And we also all have an academic tutor who's one of the lecturers that's assigned to us that you can go and ask any questions, whether it might be something that you're struggling with in the department and with the subject, or any problems at home. The lecturers can generally be found on the second floor where their offices are, as well as some of their personal labs. Another fun fact about the chemistry department is that we have a chemistry society, which if you join Reading, we would really encourage you to join. We hold lots of fun socials and do some great stuff. So moving on to Thursday, I did some work at home in the morning. I did some of the lectures that are pre-recorded online before I go to my actual lectures. This is something that Reading's been doing a lot since COVID, so they upload the lectures beforehand, you go through them, then you go to tutorials and workshops where you've pre-done questions and you can ask for help about these questions. Then I went onto campus to go to my tutorial after doing the work in the morning. I nipped to the International Food Market, which is on campus every Thursday. We have stalls outside that sell different types of food like paella, Chinese and Indian food. Then inside there are places to buy lots of bread, sweet treats and loads of other things. And this is held inside Brusu, which is the Students' Union. The Students' Union is a place for students to go. We have Saturday and Wednesday night union, as well as Bagel Man, some shops like Starbucks and Mojo's, which is where you can get a drink and chill with your friends. Then I walked home past the lake on the way back. Moving on to Friday. So after doing some work in the morning like usual, I went to the Harris Garden for a walk with my friend. The Harris Garden is used for teaching and conservation purposes, which means that we grow lots of different stuff. I myself have taken soil samples and analysed them in the chemistry building labs. The garden has lots of stuff to look at, so we have a wall garden inside, a pond, a meadow, some lovely places for a picnic or to chill with friends, lots of benches to sit on, and there's also lots of greenhouses where some societies and members of the university grow plants and fruits and vegetables. Reading cares very much about its sustainability and its effect on the planet, and you may have seen the climate change stripes that Professor Ed Hawkins made, which show the annual temperature increase of the planet. 100% of the electricity on campus is from renewable sources, and we also have a zero waste society. So for me, this was a big part of why I wanted to come to Reading, and I really care about the environment, and that's one of Reading's key ideals. We are one of the UK's greenest campuses, and we also have an interactive energy usage map so that if you do want to look at the energy consumptions of all the buildings on campus, you can do this. Finally, to finish off the week, I met up with some of my friends to have a drink outside Mojo's, which is part of the Students' Union. Thank you for watching, and if you do have any questions, please get in touch or contact us at reading.ac.uk.